What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with another Destiny 2 video, and in this one we're going to round up some of the content and updates that we'll see for the game this week. And so alongside the weekly reset, with the second week of Festival of the Lost, we are getting another update to the game. This will bring a few changes, and it will include a fix for the weapon perk RNG issue that we've seen recently. On top of that, Bungie have outlined a plan to gift players a bunch of weapons. Some of them are pretty much god rolls that we'll be able to get access to for free via the gunsmith. On top of that, there'll be double loot drops inside of the dungeon, and additional fixes for raid weapons and secret chests. So we'll talk about all of that stuff. Previews for Act 2 that we'll no doubt see in the near future. Cosmetic items and Eververse updates for the week, as well as farmable exotics and a handful of other important things in the video. So as always guys, I hope you enjoy this one and find it useful. If you do, be sure to get subscribed, as a lot of the viewers on the channel aren't actually subscribed, and it makes a massive difference in helping me reach a wider audience, so I very much appreciate that. But now, let's get into it. And first off, a quick update from Bungie here. They say the Vex are meddling with the flow of time again, and daily and weekly reset times have changed to 9 AM Pacific Standard Time. So, of course, with the clocks changing everywhere, resets will now be an hour earlier. That includes here in the UK, where they'll be at 5 PM instead of 6, so something to be aware of if you're planning playtimes and stuff like that. Otherwise, Bungie Help have given an update for Festival of the Lost, and they say all Festival of the Lost weapon drops, including focusing and decoding at EVA, will now drop as the new 2024 weapons with their respective perks. So if you're heading back in to farm some Festival now, all of the weapon drops should be correctly updated as intended from last week, so something else useful. And then regarding the update this week, and some content that'll roll out in the coming weeks, Bungie have said on November 5th we're planning to issue a fix for RNG perk weighting issues in Destiny 2, and they again thank the community for identifying the issue, but they go on to say that as a form of compensation for this, I guess, starting November 19th through December 3rd, the Vespers Host Dungeon will offer double drops for encounter and activity completions. And both weapon and armor rewards can drop from encounter completions, which will be a great time to hunt for desired rolls on weapons, or hit master difficulty to earn some artifice armor. So 2 weeks of double drops inside of the dungeon is certainly cool. I'm not sure that will apply to Icebreaker, as Bungie only referenced the legendary rewards, but nonetheless, if you play in the dungeon, that's going to be a pretty juicy one. And also they've said, from November 19th, Banshee in the Tower will have a small collection of weapons with curated perk rolls, and the goal is to get you some perk combinations that were a bit harder to earn due to the bug. We don't currently have a planned deadline for acquisition, but we recommend picking up these weapons at your earliest convenience. So I'm assuming these weapons will become available and they'll remain in the inventory until we pick them up, but it'll be for a limited time, perhaps only a couple of weeks. And in terms of what we can get, firstly, there'll be Rose, and we can see it's got fluted barrel, accurized rounds, slide shot, explosive payload, and then smooth grip and a handling masterwork. There's also the Multimac CCX, which will have polygonal rifling and tactical mag with attrition orbs and kinetic tremors, and that will get a reload masterwork. So some of these are pretty good. There's an indebted kindness as well, and that's smart drift control, tactical mag, loose change, and volt shot with a velocity masterwork, so that's a juicy one. Plus compass Rose, and that'll have corkscrew and light mag with snapshot sights and slide shot and a handling masterwork. The Hothead Adept, which will come with hard launch and impact casing, as well as tracking module and clown cartridge. And finally, the Chill Inhibitor from the dungeon, and this will have countermass and spike grenades, as well as Envious Arsenal, bait and switch, and a reload masterwork. But they do note, dungeon-related weapons will require dungeon ownership and at least one dungeon completion, so that will also affect things like indebted kindness, but some very juicy weapons there that Bungie are essentially going to give away, so keep it in mind. And if you haven't done those dungeons yet, especially for the Chill Inhibitor and Indebted Kindness, those are very good rolls, so it might be worth trying to get a run in the next week before they become available. So pretty juicy update from Bungie there, and give us your thoughts below. Otherwise, they say another small fix coming in the update today, and Garden of Salvation chests will be updated to also drop weapons. So that will be good if you're on the deep side grind. And for the patch today, it's update 8104, with background maintenance starting at 6:30 AM Pacific, and then full-on downtime starting at 7:45 AM, before the conclusion at 10 AM when the weekly reset will happen. So I'll be curious to see what other patch notes there are, and I'll keep you posted as always. Otherwise, Act 2 of Revenant will also kick off on the 19th of November. That's 2 weeks away from today, so I think it seems entirely possible that on Thursday or Friday of this week, Bungie will talk about potential reveals for that, as those will probably take place next week. But they'll at least preview some things in the blog posts, and potentially we could have a live stream for it, as we've seen with other episodes, so keep that in mind. A mention right here that'll be interesting, but Gaming Animal on YouTube has been posting Eververse inventories, which actually have an outline of when specific items will be sold. Now, we haven't seen this in the past, or we haven't seen it for a couple of years because Bungie hid the data, or at least changed the way the data was presented. But according to Gaming Animal, this week we'll be able to pick up the Promethean Prelude exotic ornament for Festival of the Lost, as well as the Interstellar Shell exotic ghost, Conductive Hubris exotic sparrow, and the new festival ship. This is the Nevermore. And of course, these items sell for both silver and bright dust during this episode, so having the bright dust option will be nice, and it'll be interesting to see if this schedule lines up correctly. There'll also be the Mance Macabre exotic ship returning from previous years according to this, so since that inventory appears to have been correct so far this season, hopefully those will be the items we can pick up this week on reset. I'll keep you posted though with the vendor refresh. And otherwise, for farmable exotics this week, firstly, Vesper's host resets, so another chance at Icebreaker. Then for farmable things, we'll have the Last Wish raid, where we can pick up the 1000 Voices, and Vow of the Disciple, where we can pick up the conditional finalities. So there are a couple of nice weapons to go after there, but the Duality Dungeon will have Heart Shadow, and this is the Shattered Throne as well, which forms part of the quest to pick up the Wish Ender. So quite a lot of exotics that can be gone after this week if you need to play any catch-up for them. And otherwise, as we'd mentioned, Revenant is kind of just ticking along for the minute until the 19th when we'll get more content, so at least that's only a couple of weeks away. And until that time, we will have Festival of the Lost active, so if you're continuing to farm exotic class items via Festival, don't forget to grab all of the candy in the trees after reset, as that stuff is as always useful. And with the weapon drops having been fixed, we can go after all of the rewards associated with that as well. So there we go guys, that's what we have to round up today. I hope you found the video useful as always. If you have, a rating below really does help us on the channel. Be sure as well to get subscribed and I'll keep you up to date with everything related to the game. But for now, I appreciate you tuning in and I hope you guys have an awesome day.
Stand against those who would cast us into ruin. Defend our people. But against the dead, killing is not enough. I name you Slayer Baron. Carve a future for the living from the bones of the dead. We are beyond death.